Hey guys, here's another video. This one's on stretching. Just some super basic stretching routine I do after after I've done my training. On this occasion I went for a quick run, about 7k, and on this beach in Finland, and I thought I'd get the camera out and film a stretching routine for you guys, so here we go. First stretch off, it's just a basic stretch on your upper thighs. Stretches out your hip flexors in the front as well, which is good. You don't have to do this out in the open. It's a lot easier if you do it leaning up against a wall or using someone's shoulder for a hand. Do it on both sides. With stretching, I tend to stretch each body part for about 10 to 20 seconds, ideally 20 seconds, but that's what I try and aim for. I'm using two hands on this stretch, mainly because I've got a super tight thigh muscle on that leg because of some injuries on the knee I've had. Okay, then we're dropping down into stretch for our hammies, hamstrings, Achilles heels, your lower spine, your upper spine, your shoulders, your triceps, your neck. I mean, this stretch hits them all really. It's a really good stretch. I mean, a lot of these stretches are derived from yoga poses. I mean, I know this one is for sure. I don't know the names of the poses because I don't practice yoga myself, but I know that they make good stretches. These stretches, the poses I'm in right now are about, I'd say, between intermediate and advanced really. So they take a while to sort of work your way up to a state of flexibility. So I mean, you can make these make these stretches easier by bringing in the circumference or the radiance of the movements. This is just a stretch on the groin area. This is a really good stretch. Good stretch this if you do a lot of surfing or climbing. Good for rock ups or rock overs and climbing, and it's good for pop ups and surfing. Do it on both sides. Again, 10-15 seconds. Okay, then we're going into a stretch on our lower spine. This is a good stretch to do on your lower back. I'd say we hardly ever put ourselves in a position in our day-to-day life that mimic these stretches, so when you perform them, you immediately feel the benefits really. This stretch in particular, it's a good stretch this. Okay, so now I'll go into the reverse. Again, this is a yoga pose I don't know the name of, but it's a really good stretch. It's nice to go into that position after your previous position as well. Feels good. I put my camera on the beach and everyone decided to walk in front of it, even though there's like a 2-kilometer beach behind them or behind the camera, so figure that one out. Okay, this stretch here is a stretch for your hip flexors. It's quite an advanced position. This you can do this stretch lying on your back in the same position, but doing it laying on your leg produces a lot more pressure through your hip flexors, which gives you a greater stretch. But yeah, this is a good stretch. Just if you're going to try this, be careful because it can, if you don't do it right, it can knock your knees up. So it's incredible how good you feel after performing these stretches. Just like, 10 minutes, that's all it takes. 10 minutes every day. Okay, from that one I usually go straight into stretching my Achilles heels and calf muscles, just because you're in that perfect position. I like to stretch them out. Okay, then we're going into a groin stretch again. This one's a little harder. This one penetrates deep within the tissue because it's such a big range of movement. I'd only recommend doing these stretches after some form of exercise that would last for a minimum of 10 to 15 minutes, really, because whatever you do, you don't want to stretch when you're cold. You always want to stretch when you're warm. I'm kind of a firm believer of that, really. Personally, I don't think it's a great idea to stretch before your activity, because your muscles and tendons and tissues are cold, and if you can compare them to an elastic band or a piece of blue tack, you try and pull them apart when they're cold, the blue tack will snap, whereas if you warm it up in your hands first, you can get it. It's like Mr. Armstrong, man, you can get it like a couple feet out of it. It's the same with your tissues, tendons and your muscles. They have to be warm, or else that's how you injure yourself. That's why it's really important to spend 10 to 20 minutes warming up. Okay, the stretch is targeting our upper back, our like trapeze and traps area. If you're a keen boulderer or a climber, if you go to any climbing walls, this is a really good stretch to do on the wall. So you just grab a jug or the top or the lip of whatever, and put your foot on the wall and just kind of pull out into your back and push off with your leg, and it's really good. It targets your back really well. Okay, now we're going into another yoga pose. Again, I don't know the name of this one, but I know that it feels really good when you stretch it out. And it's this pose here, we're opening up a lot here. We've got our hip flexors working, hamstrings, calves, Achilles, and then we're going into our upper torso, our pectorals, our trapeze muscles, our shoulders. We're working, stretching out the spine, our neck. It's fantastic stretch, this. It feels really good. Again, it may take a while to sort of gain that sort of open posture with that stretch, but work away at it and it will come for sure. Okay, so now we're straight into a shoulder stretch. Here I'm just interlocking my forearms, and then I'll pull with the opposing arm to sort of stretch the shoulder. This is hard to do if you're swole, because if you've got hench forearms and hench shoulders, you will probably find it hard to interlock your arms, which is why, boys and girls, it's not good to get big. Okay, now we're going into a tricep stretch, just a super basic tricep stretch and obliques. And that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. Post your comments and questions down below. Let me know what you think. Maybe share your own stretching routines. And I'll see you next video. Cheers.